I was standing in the corner of the ballroom watching my wife place her hand on another man's arm and laugh in a way that made my stomach turn. Jessica looked radiant that night, glowing in her black dress, but none of that light was directed at me. It was all for him, for Brad, her coworker, the guy she had been mentioning more and more over the past few months. I had told myself it was just work stuff, just friendly colleague banter. But standing there watching her lean into him like I did not exist, I knew something was off. I had known for weeks, actually. Maybe longer. I just kept hoping I was wrong. By the time she looked at me with cold eyes and told me to leave if I was so insecure I'd already made my decision, I was done. Before I take you through what happened that night and everything that came after, I want to know where you are watching from. Drop your city or country in the comments below. If you have ever felt like you were being gaslit in your own relationship, like you were crazy for trusting your gut, hit that like button right now. And subscribe if you want to hear how this story ends, because trust me, Jessica never saw what was coming. She thought I would just take it. She thought I needed her. She was wrong. Now let me take you back to where it all started to unravel. Jessica and I had been married for 4 years when everything fell apart. We met through mutual friends, dated for 2 years, and got married in a small ceremony in Austin, Texas, where we both lived. Those first couple of years were good. Really good. We had this little house in the suburbs with a backyard where we would grill on weekends. I worked as a software engineer for a mid-sized tech company, stable job, decent pay. Jessica was a marketing manager, ambitious and social, always the life of any gathering. I loved that about her. She was confident where I was more reserved. She pushed me out of my comfort zone. We balanced each other, or at least I thought we did. She had long brown hair, green eyes that lit up when she smiled, and this energy that just drew people in. I was proud to be her husband. I thought she felt the same way about me. About 3 months before that party, things started to shift. It was subtle at first. Jessica began mentioning Brad more often. He had just been promoted to sales director and was working with her on some big campaign launch. I did not think much of it initially. Work talk, right? People talk about their colleagues. But then she started coming home later. One night it was close to 10 p.m. when she walked through the door. I asked her how the meeting went. She gave me this vague answer, something about the campaign strategy, then immediately grabbed her phone and started scrolling, smiling to herself. I asked what was funny. She said, "Oh, just something Brad said in the group chat." The way she said his name, there was this warmth in it that I had not heard in a while when she talked to me. I felt a little knot form in my chest, but I pushed it down. I did not want to be that guy, the jealous, paranoid husband. The following week, she changed her phone password. Just like that, no explanation. When I casually asked why, she looked at me like I had accused her of something terrible. She said she just wanted more privacy. Then she turned it back on me. "Why do you not trust me?" That phrase became her weapon. Anytime I brought up anything that felt off, she would flip it and make me feel like I was the problem. So I stopped asking. I told myself I was overthinking it, being insecure, like she said. But deep down, I knew something was wrong. 2 months before the party, Jessica started paying more attention to her appearance. New clothes, a different hairstyle, more makeup. She looked amazing, and I told her so one morning. "You look beautiful," I said. She barely glanced at me and muttered thanks before turning back to her mirror. It stung, but I tried not to let it show. That Saturday, I suggested we go out for brunch, something we used to do all the time. She told me she had to work on a presentation with Brad on a Saturday. I asked if it really had to be the weekend. She shot me this look and said, "Yes, Rod, some of us have ambitions beyond a 9 to 5. That comment hit me like a punch. She had never talked to me like that before, like my job, my life was somehow less than hers. I tried to connect with her that week. I bought her flowers, cooked her favorite dinner, hoping it would remind her of us. She looked at the flowers and said, "That is sweet," but there was no feeling behind it. That night she came home at 9, exhausted, barely said 2 words to me, and went straight to bed. I sat on the couch alone, staring at the ceiling, feeling like a stranger in my own home. A week before the company party, Jessica mentioned it, almost like an afterthought. The company holiday party is next Friday. You should come. There was no excitement in her voice. No, you have to come. I want you there. Just a flat statement. I told her, of course, I would come. I always did. She said, yeah, well, this year it is at the Hilton downtown. Formal attire. I went out and bought a new suit, a charcoal gray one, wanting to look good, wanting her to be proud of me. That week she came home late 3 out of 5 nights. I tried to talk to her one evening. Jess, is everything okay between us? She barely looked up from her phone. Everything is fine, Rod. You are just being paranoid. That word again. Paranoid. Like my feelings did not matter, like I was imagining the distance growing between us. But I was not imagining it. I could feel it in every cold response every time she turned away from me in bed, every time she smiled at her phone, and I knew it was not because of me. Friday night arrived. We drove to the Hilton separately because Jessica said she had to go straight from work. When I walked into the ballroom, the place was packed. Maybe 100 people, all dressed up, chandeliers hanging from the ceiling, a buffet table stretched along one wall. Jessica was already there wearing that black dress that hugged every curve. She looked stunning. I felt a flicker of hope. Maybe tonight would be different. Maybe we could reconnect. When I walked up to her, she scanned the room like she was looking for someone else. Come on, I need to introduce you to the team, she said. She led me over to a group of her coworkers and introduced me with zero warmth. This is Rod, my husband. Not, this is Rod, the love of my life, just a factual statement. Then she said she would be right back and disappeared into the crowd. I stood there holding a glass of champagne, feeling completely out of place. That is when I saw Brad for the first time that night. He was tall, probably 6'2", dark hair, slicked back navy suit, confident smile. The kind of guy who walks into a room and expects people to notice. He walked straight over to Jessica, who was standing near the bar. I watched as he put his hand on the small of her back when he greeted her. She leaned into him, laughing at something he said, this bright, genuine laugh I had not heard from her in months. They stood close, too close. Brad leaned down and whispered something in her ear. Jessica playfully shoved his shoulder and giggled. Oh, stop it. My stomach twisted. I walked over. Hey, honey, I said. She turned, and for a split second I saw annoyance flash across her face. Oh, Rod. This is Brad. Brad. This is Rod. Brad extended his hand and gripped mine way too hard, like he was making a point. So you are the husband. Jess talks about you. The way he said the husband, like it was a title, not a person. I said nice to meet you. He said Jessica and I have been crushing it on the North Region campaign. She is incredible. He looked at her when he said it, and she actually blushed. I said yes, she is. Awkward silence. Then Jessica looked at me and said, Rod, why don't you go get some food? I need to talk to Brad about Monday's presentation. She dismissed me like I was a kid interrupting the adults. I walked away feeling humiliated. For the next hour, I tried to mingle, but I could not stop watching them. They sat at the same table, knees touching. Brad poured her wine, and she touched his hand when she took the glass. They danced to one song, and Brad kept his hand low on her back. At one point, Jessica rested her head on his shoulder just for a moment, but I saw it. I felt sick. I tried talking to other people, but I could not focus. Then Linda, a woman from HR, came up to me. You okay? You look tense. I said, yeah, I am fine, just not really my scene. She glanced over at Jessica and Brad, then back at me with this sympathetic look. I am sorry, she said. Those 2 words told me everything. I was not crazy. Other people saw it too. I decided I had to say something. Around 11 p.m., I walked over to where Jessica and Brad were standing near the balcony talking. Jessica, can I talk to you for a minute? She looked annoyed. I am in the middle of a conversation. Rod, Brad said, it is cool, man. We were just talking shop. I said, this will just take a second. My voice was firm. Jessica sighed and followed me out to the hallway. "What is going on with you and Brad?" I asked. She frowned. "What do you mean?" I said. "You have been all over him all night, touching him, laughing at everything he says." She cut me off. "We are colleagues, Rod. We work together. It is called networking." I said, "That is not networking, Jess. That is flirting." Her face went cold. "Are you seriously doing this right now?" "At my work event," I said. "You put your head on his shoulder, Jessica." "I saw it." She snapped. "So what?" "It was one song. You are making a big deal out of nothing." I said, "It is not nothing to me. You have been distant for months, and now I see you acting like this with him." She raised her voice. "Acting like what, happy? Sorry? I am not miserable like you." I felt like she had slapped me. "What I said." She said, "You heard me." "You sit at home doing your little coding projects, acting like that is enough. Brad gets it. He is ambitious. He wants more." I said, "Brad. What does Brad have to do with us?" She went ice cold. "Maybe if you were not so insecure, you would understand that I need to be around people who inspire me." I said, "I am your husband, Jessica." She said, "Then act like it and stop embarrassing me." I stood there in shock. "You are embarrassed by me." She started to walk away, then turned back. "If you cannot handle me having a career and friends, maybe you should just leave." I said, "What did you say?" She looked me dead in the eye. "You heard me. If you are so insecure, just leave, Rod. Nobody is forcing you to stay." Those words hung in the air. If you are insecure, just leave. I stood there for a few seconds, waiting for her to take it back to say she did not mean it. She did not. She just turned and walked back to Brad. I felt this strange calm wash over me. It was not anger. It was clarity. I pulled out my phone and ordered an Uber. I looked back at the ballroom one last time. Jessica was laughing with Brad again, like our conversation had not even happened. I said quietly to myself, "Okay, I will leave." I walked out of that hotel and did not look back. I got home around midnight. I was completely sober, mind clear. I went upstairs and pulled 3 large suitcases out of the closet. I started packing. Clothes, laptop, important documents, photos of my family. I left the wedding photos on the wall. I looked at one for a moment, the two of us smiling 4 years ago, so happy, so hopeful. I left it there. At 1 a.m., I called Marcus, my best friend from college. "Dude, what is wrong?" he answered, voice groggy. I said, "I need a place to stay." "Can I come over?" He said, "Of course." "Come now." I wrote a note and left it on the kitchen table. "You said leave if I was insecure. I am leaving. I will contact you through my lawyer about the next steps. Signed, Rod." I took off my wedding ring and set it next to the note. I walked out at 2 a.m. and drove to Marcus's place. Jessica got home around 3 a.m. I knew because the security camera app on my phone still showed notifications. Saturday morning, she woke up around 9. I imagine she walked through the house, noticed my things were gone, found the note. She called me. I did not answer. She texted Rod, "This is ridiculous. Come home so we can talk." I did not reply. She called 5 more times that day. She left 3 voicemails. The first one was angry. "You are being childish." The second was confused. "I do not understand why you are doing this." The third was worried. "Rod, please call me back." I listened to all of them. I did not respond to a single one. Marcus asked if I was going to reply. I said no. She told me to leave. I am giving her exactly what she asked for. Monday morning, I contacted a divorce attorney named David Armstrong. He had 20 years of experience in family law. I laid out the situation, no emotion, just facts. David said, "Based on what you are telling me, we have a solid foundation. In Texas, community property gets split 50-50 unless there is clear evidence of misconduct." I said I want a clean break. I will split everything fairly, but I want out fast. He started preparing the paperwork. Tuesday, I hired a private investigator named Gary Sullivan. Not to catch her cheating, but to document her activities in case Jessica tried to deny things later. Gary said, I will keep it discreet, just document what she does. Wednesday, I transferred half the money from our joint account into my personal account, which was legal under Texas law. I canceled our joint credit cards. I changed all my personal account passwords. Thursday, Jessica called my office. My secretary transferred the call. Rod, your wife is on the line. I said, tell her I am in a meeting. And from now on, all communication goes through my attorney. The secretary sounded shocked, but said, okay. I emailed Jessica my lawyer's contact information with a simple message. All further communication regarding our marriage should be directed to David Armstrong, Esquire. Friday, Jessica showed up at my office. The receptionist called me. There is a Jessica here to see you. She says she is your wife and it is urgent. I said I am not available. I went down to the lobby and met her in the public area. Her eyes were red. Rod, what are you doing? Lawyer. Really, I said calmly. You told me to leave if I was insecure. I left. She said, I did not mean it like that. I was upset. I said I heard exactly what you meant. She said, this is insane. We can work this out. I said there is nothing to work out. You made your choice that night. She said, what about Brad? You think something is happening with Brad? I said, I do not care what is happening with Brad. This is not about him. This is about you and how you treated me. She said, Rod, please. I said my lawyer will contact you. I turned around and walked back inside. The second week, Gary gave me his report. Jessica and Brad had been meeting regularly after work. But here is the interesting part. Brad was married with 2 kids. His wife, Angela, had no idea about any of this. Gary said Brad has been playing both sides. I asked, does Angela know about Jessica? Gary said not yet. I made a decision. I did not want revenge in the traditional sense, but I wanted the truth to come out. I contacted Linda from HR, the woman who had been sympathetic at the party. I said, Linda, I need to talk to you about something professional. We met at a coffee shop. I said, I am not here to cause drama, but I think you should know Jessica and Brad have been having an inappropriate relationship that could affect the workplace. I showed her some photos Gary had taken, them having dinner alone holding hands in the company parking lot. Linda looked shocked. Oh my God. Thank you for bringing this to my attention, Rod. I am so sorry. She said the company had a strict policy about workplace relationships, especially when they were not disclosed. Week 3, HR opened an internal investigation. Jessica and Brad were called into separate meetings. Jessica received an official warning and was at risk of losing her position. Brad was demoted and transferred to the Dallas branch. Brad's wife, Angela, found out through a coworker who let it slip. Angela filed for divorce. I did not do any of this directly. I just provided information. The system did the rest. I never contacted Jessica directly. Everything went through my lawyer. Then Jessica called me crying. Rod, you destroyed my career. You told HR. I said I told HR the truth. What happened after that is not my responsibility. She said Brad is gone. My reputation is ruined. I said you told me I was insecure. You told me to leave. I did exactly that. Everything else is consequences of your choices. She said I made a mistake. Can we not work this out? I said sign the divorce papers, Jessica. It is over. I hung up. The first 2 months after I left were hard. Not because I missed Jessica, but because I felt like I had failed. I had invested 4 years into that relationship and now it was gone. There were nights I lay awake wondering if I had overreacted, but Marcus was always there. You did the right thing, man. She did not respect you. He was right. Slowly, I started rebuilding. I joined a gym and started running every morning. I picked up my guitar again, something I had not touched in years. I went hiking on weekends and joined a climbing group where I met new people who did not know anything about my past. At work, things were looking up. I got an offer to be a senior engineer at a tech startup with a salary 30% higher than my old job. I took it. I moved into a new apartment overlooking the Colorado River in Austin. I decorated it exactly how I wanted. Minimalist, clean, peaceful. It was mine. 6 months after that night at the party, the divorce was finalized. We split everything 50-50. I kept my personal savings, we sold the house, and divided the profit. I felt relieved, free. I did not hate Jessica anymore. I just felt sorry for the time I had wasted. I realized something important during those months. Respecting yourself is more important than holding on to a toxic relationship. Insecure was not the right word to describe protecting my boundaries. Loving someone does not mean accepting being disrespected. Sometimes walking away is the strongest thing you can do. I did not hate Jessica. She lost a good husband, and that was her consequence. Brad lost his family and career. Those were his consequences. I was not out for revenge. I just refused to be treated poorly. A year after that party, I was sitting on my balcony drinking coffee on a Saturday morning. I got a text from Linda, the HR director. "How are you doing? Heard you are crushing it at the new job." I smiled and replied, "Doing great, thanks for checking in." I heard through the grapevine that Jessica had quit her job and was freelancing in marketing now. I did not follow her life anymore. I did not need to. I thought about that night about her words. If you are insecure, just leave. I said out loud to myself, I was not insecure. I just knew my worth. That night, Jessica dared me to leave. She thought I would not do it. She thought I needed her more than she needed me. She was wrong. Sometimes the best response to disrespect is not anger or fighting back. It is walking away and never looking back. And that is exactly what I did. If you are in a situation where someone makes you feel small, remember this. You do not owe anyone your peace of mind, not even someone you love. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever been in a situation where someone dared you to leave and you actually did it? What happened? Drop your story in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe to this channel because I share real stories about real people navigating the hardest moments of their lives. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it reminds you that you deserve respect always. Take care of yourself out there and remember, knowing when to walk away is not weakness, it is strength.